Welcome, my name is Tashara and this is StarMade. And we're still continuing this build of this, well, I'm calling it home station at the moment, because it's probably going to be a station I'm going to use as a home base to build some other ships in the shipyard here. And today's episode I mainly want to concentrate on getting this U-shape done here at the end. The last time we did the inside of the U-shape over here with these two docking bays for what I'm planning to be docking bays for worker bees, and this sort of cockpit style build here. That's going to be the command deck for the station itself, so you can basically get a good overview from inside the station over the shipyard itself. But there's still a lot of things we need to do. And I started already mapping out some areas on top of this this part I already built, because I need the space to hide one of these shipyard lines in there. So need a bit more height below and up here to hide it as well. So there's going to be an additional layer to complete this U section over here. I'm not sure if I showed you this already in the last episode, but I did a bit of decoration over here also to hide this shipyard line over here, as you can see. So basically something like a hinge that looks like it's holding on to this this component that's going to be built here on top of it. Just a small trick to hide systems instead of having them in plain view. I don't want that for this this station. There are a couple of things I want to try with this additional layer I want to build on top of here. As you can see here, I did a little bit of decoration on this ball over here with these grates, and I want this upper part to give off a very industrial or factory-like feeling, because this part of the station is mainly going to concentrate on providing the industrial base for the capacity for this station, so factories and things like that. And then it will also connect to this part over here where I'm planning to have some additional turrets located for the defense of this station. So it's basically the same docking area as I have on the other end of the station, all the way over there with the antennas. And I need to figure out a spot for additional turrets at the back as well. So that will basically cover the entire station itself. So whatever angle you approach the station on, there will be some turrets that will be pointed at you. That's at least the idea behind it. But yeah, this industrial looking part building, that's my main concern at the moment. And here we go. This is already a lot more the idea I have for this industrial complex I want. So basically I left this middle part open of this this building, and this allows me to basically show a lot of industrial components inside the building. And that's not going to be all the way through, it's just going to be a layer of, I believe this was 15 blocks deep, so you can have some details, and then there's going to be a wall behind that to close everything off. But with the lights inside here and all the details of all the different machines that you can put in here, this will give a very detailed look to this. You can probably see it a bit better on this side because the light is shining on this side a bit more. This is basically the same type of technique I used for the Borg cube. If you remember correctly, I did something similar with that, basically layering a wall with different details to get it look like this, because the further you move away from this, the more it looks like a single wall with detail. But if you go closer and closer, more and more detail will pop up. and if you get really close, you can even fly into the detail. So it's a layered effect that depends on how close you are to the build itself, and quite like how this works out. I am planning to have some additional details on top of this building as well, but I'm not sure what yet. So I'm going to put in a flat roof at first, and then go from there to see what kind of type of detail I can put on it. But yeah, the other concern I have at the moment is basically connecting this to the back of the station. That's not there yet, so that's one of my design decisions I have to make. So as you can see here, I try to continue this wall design with these crates on this side, but I think this is a bit too much of those crates. So I'm probably going to reduce that and do some other details on the wall. So as you can see here, I did remove one of these grate sections and did some armor plating, very simple, because I already have some of those shapes over here and then over here, so that's quite enough, I think. And I decided to continue this building all the way to the back and then slope it down again and get one of those mounting points for the defending turrets of the station here as well. So then I'll have one of that side and then one facing backwards to basically cover the back of the station. Yeah, I think I'm also going to continue this building ID with the sections over here. So I'm probably going to have a couple of buildings next to each other. This one I already have, and then one over here I already lined out, and then one in the middle on top of this command section in the middle over here. One other change I made as well is over here on this side. I decided to go for a straight section over here. I had this sloped into the turret mounting point over here, the same way I had it on this side, but it didn't really work out because I wanted to go that way with the building, and this really didn't connect nicely with the section over here. So instead of that, I'm probably going to get some detailing on over here that's basically freestanding and not directly connected to the building itself. That works out as well, I think. Did some additional outlining for where the decorations are going to be. This is still the same, but as you can see here, I lined everything up so it goes all the way to the back. And obviously here on this side, you see that I made this nice looking back section with these what they call them, cross beams or something like that. So it doesn't really end up properly in the ending armor over there. So yeah, that's something of a design that I can copy over, I think, to the middle section as well. And then we have a lot of room and a lot of space to put in detail, I think. More buildings put in, at least more of the framing. And I had this additional idea to hide the line for the shipyard by connecting these pipes over here. I already had these crates over here, so if I connect a pipe to it, then I already know how the size is going to be. Then I'll have one in the middle over here that can hide the shipyard modules. Then one over here that bends down and comes in here on the lower level, just to have some additional details. And I can do that on both sides. As you can see over here, it's mirrored. And I'm probably going to use the same design to connect this building to the middle building that I don't have yet. I still need to build that one. Yeah, and as you can see here, it already shows a bit how high this wall design is going to be on this end of the station. Did some additional detailing inside here as well, because this is very tiring for me creating all these details. I want to have them somewhat unique, at least unique enough. They can be mirrored from the top and the bottom ones, but don't want to use the same section of decorations in all the buildings over here. So these should be unique enough. And I need to do that on both sides, of course, because I still have a lot of room on this side where there's no decoration. So I did a little bit over here, but yeah, this is not all that visible because there's a lot of stuff in the way. But I still wanted to be there because yeah, if you zoom in basically and fly around in the station, then you can still see it. As you can see here, I was playing around with some decoration I could put on top of this building. But I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this. I don't think I will. I think it's going to be a different project to decorate the top of these buildings. Probably going to use these, I'm not sure what you call it. It's a sort of fluid container, I think, but spherical. I can probably put one of those in the lower sections here as part of the decorations in the factory itself. Also completed more or less this part of the building. It's probably going to be exactly the same as the one next to it, only instead of the thing over there for the turrets, there's something going to be like a building basically sticking out of it. I'm not sure if I'm describing that correctly, but I want to have different elevations in this section. And then in the back, basically have rounded sections of the stations over here. So this is going to be very straight, I think, on this part of the station instead of curved. But this is more or less the shape of the back of the station that I want at the moment. There's a lot of things I can do at the back to enhance the shape over there, but yeah, the main modules are basically mapped out at the moment. I also did some shaping on the middle building I want. So this is going to be slightly differently shaped than the other ones because this has the corners over here. And then this is basically continue to the back in the same shape, basically as all the buildings over here. But there's one problem with this setup. I don't think these buildings over here are long enough. They look a bit weird to me. It's not doesn't have enough volume in my opinion. So I probably have to move everything slightly back to give it a bit more room. So that's going to be a big copy paste job. And for you guys, this was a quick cut in the video, but for me it was quite some time to get this moved over. As you can see here, it's now slightly longer. Basically, this top section of the roof is now square. Looks a lot better to me. So that also means that I had to lengthen all the other buildings as well, just to keep this shape the same. Yeah, and as you can see, I copied over this pipe design to connect the middle building to the rest as well. And then I basically built this lower pipe that bends down in here to connect to the two sections over here. So it's also additional detail within the visible factory detailing on the buildings. But this is basically the main frame of the station back part. Just need to add a lot of detail to finish it up. This is turning out quite the way I wanted, I think. At least in the detail and shape department, so it's working out quite well for me. Additional armor plating, and I basically finished up this outer section of the detailing of the factory buildings on both sides. Like I said, mirrored of course, and I also did that on the this side for this part that I wanted to basically fill up this space to connect to the turret section over there. So we did quite a simple job, just some armor panelings over here, and then this this nice round design on top of it to, well, signify something. I'm not sure what. It's all made up machinery, of course. It doesn't do anything, but lots of piping and lots of machines and lights always gives a very good industrial effect, I think. So yeah, I have to continue this trend and basically fill up all the other spaces of the buildings now. And then, yeah, there's going to be a lot of work on the back that I still need to do, but I'm not sure how far I'm going to get with that in this episode today. But we'll see. We'll see. And on the outside of the station, I've got now the detail is basically done now for at least the industrial building part on the side. As you can see here, I filled in all the spaces with industrial machines and tanks and pipes and whatever doodads I could think of. As you can see, I moved one of these round ball tanks down here. I no longer have them on the roof, so I cleared that out because, like I said, it's probably going to be a different project all in its own to get that decorated. But yeah, I'm slowly chipping away by filling in these details, because yeah, like I said, it's very draining for me to think of new things. So yeah, did some work on this side, for example. You can hardly see it from the outside, but if you move in here, then you can see it. But I still need to do that for the rest of the buildings. Um, yeah, that's, like I said, slowly chipping away at this job. And as you can see here, more and more detail has been added. So now these buildings here in the middle are basically filled up with the industrial details. So now only the middle one is left over. I did start on that on this corner over here, but yeah, it's only a small part of what I need to do. But yeah, I'm going to complete that at a later date because there's something else I want to show you guys. Because here in the back I did some additional work. You might already see some blue lights over there. I designed it to go for some hangar bays on this end of the station as well. Yeah, it's a station, so in my opinion it needs lots and lots of hangar space. But this specific hangar space is basically, in my opinion, needed for housing fighters, small fighters at least, that can patrol this space around the station and do some cargo checks or something like that for incoming traffic. But when I built these hangar slots over here, I ran into a bit of a problem. I decided to go for one on the outside and then one in the middle, but the shapes over here, the gray parts over here, are all different sizes. So I believe, if I remember correctly, this was 43 blocks wide. This one is 42. So it's an even number. I miscalculated somewhere. And this one is, I believe, 41. So it's already smaller than the outer ones. And basically this one can't be used for this because my design relies on uneven numbers. So I have a decision to make. And I think I'm going to be very thorough with this and just basically move everything for this middle section over here one block over to the middle. So this will also be 43 blocks wide. So I can use this one the same size as the outer ones. And then this middle one will be basically 2 blocks less because of that. But that's not really a problem, so you can basically remove this docking bay in the middle and then move it over to the side one. So we have 2 docking bays on the side. And we can do something totally different with this middle bit, so it contrasts nicely with the other same size bit. So yeah, another big copy paste job. Yeah, but that's basically the risk you're taking if you free building without a plan for something like this. But yeah, I have to do it. And as you can see here, I actually did it. So yeah, everything has been moved over one block to the middle on the left and on the right side. It was a lot of work. You might not see it, but it was for me very obvious I had to do it. So now I moved the doors for the hangar bays to the outer parts of the station. So I've got 4 hangar bays in total. Already put in some doors, as you can see over here, and over here I've got a little bit of a mock-up for what I'm going to do with this hangar bay. And as you can see here, I've got a small saber class fighter in here. It's the smallest fighter I have. It's going to be docked to in each docking bay, so that would give me 8 in total for basically flying the patrols around the station. Um, But yeah, there's not a lot of detail going on in here. Just mapping out the side of the docking bay itself to see if it can be docked. And then they can basically copy it over to the sections next to it and do some of the same detailing. Yeah, I still need to think of something to contrast for the middle bit, because that's the smallest factory part bit at the moment. But yeah, that's I think about it. That's by the way one of my tests to see how it looks to load up uh, the ships within the factory to see how they dock. Because yeah, that's the problem with shipyards. They always dock at the core, and cores are not always in the same place in different ships. But for now, I think this is enough for this episode. We did a lot of work. Now basically this end wall of the station is done with lots and lots of details. I quite love how this turned out. Still need to be a bit of work, but yeah, most of it is now done. And I can then concentrate on the back of the station and a bit of the side to finish up that part of the exterior. But yeah, that's like I said, for next time. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.